Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. So, today's class is super easy, inshallah ta'ala. This is a concept that we've seen many times from Unit 3 on. So we've been seeing it for the last, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 units. So it's really kind of a recap, but it's important for us to kind of grasp this, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so it says we have already come across a few prepositions like ala, meaning on, fi meaning in, and an meaning about, right? We noted the word controlled by a preposition is genitive. So the word that comes after ala, fi, an is going to be genitive. We already know that. We already seen that in English. We don't say from he, we say from him, right? And this is just basically giving us a list of more prepositions used in the Quran. Okay, so we can break down prepositions into two categories. Okay, two categories. Category number one, attached prepositions. Prepositions that will be attached to the word. Okay, so number one, they will be written attached to the word. Number two, they may change a little bit. They may change a little bit. Yeah, they may change a little bit. So there are two prepositions which are single letters. Okay, the preposition, the word itself is just one letter. Okay, and it mentions two here. There's actually another one as well. Okay, we'll mention that here. So it says are single letters. They're just one letter attached to the words that follow them. So there's no space, right? There's no space between them. So they are li, which means to, or for, or belonging to. Okay? So we say lillahi, li Muhammadin, li Salihin, li Khalidin, li Faridin, right? Li. Okay? It means belonging to or for, etc. And then bi, like Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Billahi, etc. It means by, as in to go buy something. It means in something. It also means with something. Okay, it's quite an important word, ba. And then the third, it mentions kaf, but actually there's a fourth as well. The fourth one is a wow. Okay, can I write that on the board? I think we're right here actually. Does it let me to write? I can write it on the whiteboard. I also can annotate, I believe. Okay, I'll just write on the whiteboard. So the other one is wa. Wa has another meaning. Does anybody know what wa means? No full? And. Wa means and, but it means something else, and we use it very frequently to mean I swear by, right? For example, one would say, how would you say I swear by Allah?
Wallahi.
Wallahi, not wallahu. So if I said wallahi, it means I swear by Allah. If I say wallahu, that means and Allah. Wallaha, that means and Allah. But wallahi, that means I swear by Allah. So notice there is no space. Okay, number one. And then there's a kasra on it. Wallahi. Okay. Whoever's writing on the board, everyone else can see it. Okay, so wallahi was-sama'i, which would mean what?
And heaven.
Was-sama'u would mean and the sky. Was-sama'a and the sky. Was-sama'a banaynaha, right? But was-sama'i would mean, okay, why can I not do this? Okay. Was-sama'i wat-tariq means I swear by, where's
The
my
sky.
hamza? There we go. Was-sama'i wat-tariqi. Okay. Now I'm going to go on so that's easy, right? So we got well, we come back to this in a discussion in a second. Wallahi was-sama'i, and then it mentions number 4. So we had li, so lamb by itself with a kasra, li. And then it had what was it? B. And then ka. And then if for some reason it says ka is not a preposition, maybe it's not a preposition in English, it is in Arabic, right? So ka is a preposition in Arabic. Like is a preposition in Arabic. Like you are like him. It is a preposition in English, right? You are like him, not you are like he, right? So ليس كمثله شيء. There's nothing like the like of him. ليس كمثله, right? There was nothing like the like of him. Okay. So we have these 4, lam, ba, and kaf, and the waw. They are A, one letter. B, they're always connected to the word that comes with them. And C, they might change a little bit. When I'm saying they change a little bit is specifically this lam. This lam is a sneaky character. It's very, I wouldn't say annoying. That's not respectful. But it's a trying, difficult character, because li has a kasra when it's attached to a normal noun, like lillahi, li khalidin, li sultan. Okay, but when you put it before a pronoun, it's la. So you don't say lihu, you say lahu. Had that. What happened to my lamb gone? Where's my lamb gone? It's odd. Why does it disappear? Anyway, if I say li zaydin, walaka, and for you. Right? Notice here it says, I'm going to put here equals, for Zayd and for you. Notice how the 4 that comes before Zayd, it has a, what haraka does it have on it?
Kasra.
Kasra. But when it comes before a pronoun, it has a
Walak.
fatha, right? It's the same word, for and for. But when it comes before a normal noun, it has a kasra. Lillahi, for Allah. Wa lahu ma fi samawati wa ma for him. Lahu, laka. Okay? Lakum. It has a fatha. So that's very difficult, because it looks like a different word suddenly, but it's not. Okay, so with a pronoun, it's going to have la. Okay? And with a normal noun, it's going to have a ya. Now, here's a question. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and go on to a new slide. I'm going to come back to the word wallahi in a second. Let's go to new add page. Okay. How would I say for us?
For us.
Mm-hmm.
Lahu.
That's for him.
Lana.
Good. Lana. Lana. That means for us. Okay. Now, how would I say for me? Lee. So that's pretty weird, right? Didn't we just say that for with a purpose? Where's my yeah gone? Is that a yeah? Yes. That means for me, Lee. That for we said for a normal noun it has a kasra, and for a pronoun it has a fatha. But why do you think it has a kasra for the word me? Why do you think it has a kasra?
Because of the difficulty in pronouncing
In
lai.
fact, you say lay. Lay in Arabic means to bend or to twist. So it's like it sounds really weird. So that's just because you have one little sound and another little sound, and the two come together in a way that doesn't make any sense. So when you say li, that means for me, and that's fine. So that's an exception. Okay, but we can say lillahi, li zaydin, whatever it is. Normally, li means for, and it's attached. La for a pronoun, lana. But when it comes to me, you say li. هذه السيارة لي. This car belongs to me. This car is mine. Okay. Shiju, Shanavas, Saeed, Nofal, Aslam, Asif, Sultan, Nasir. Is this Nasir or Nasir?
Nasir.
Nasir. Okay. Everyone's happy?
Yeah, yes.
Really?
And
So when there is, I have one question.
Go ahead.
So when there is this li or la, this is a preposition. So the state of this word will be genitive, right?
Correct. Now, will
So
you see a preposition expressing that state? The answer is no. So you say a state for a preposition, a state for a pronoun, sorry. The pronoun like ka or na or e is fairly pointless. It's just theoretical, right? Like imagine something that when you heat it up, it doesn't get hot. So you say, are you heating this thing up? Yes. Touch it. Oh, it's not hot though. So yeah, but I'm still heating up. Okay. Imagine somebody, if you take money away from them, the money doesn't decrease. You say, that doesn't make sense. Did you take money away from him? Yes. Well, he still has the same money. He said, yeah, that's because he's Allah. Oh, okay. Whoops. Right. And so it is happening, but you just can't see it. There's no sign of it. Right. There's no sign of it. So it is in a state. It is in a genitive state, but there's no sign of it. Does that make sense?
yeah, so I mean this would probably happen for like this attached pronouns, right?
That's just pronouns. Yeah, that's
Like,
only. So
okay.
pronouns are we will have this word later on. What we call mabni. Mabni is they don't change even though they're going through different roles. So the default in Arabic is all words express the state that they're in. They go and in, or in or atin, or whatever it is. But preposition pronouns like nahnu and na, they may change, but they don't change based on the different state that they're going through. Well, there's no way to see by looking at them by themselves. You can't identify what state they're actually in. You just have to look at what's going on around them. So pronouns. So what's interesting in English, pronouns change, right? You say he and him and his, whereas nothing else really changes in English. In Arabic, it's the very opposite. Pronouns don't change, whereas normal words do change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so there is no lucky at all?
Leki would mean something else. What would it mean?
Oh,
Well, what's anti? What does anti mean?
Anti means she, right?
Anti means you, feminine
like,
singular.
Yeah, feminine she.
oh, I see. Okay.
Feminine you. Feminine.
Okay, so leki is
So
for you,
for you,
feminine singular.
feminine.
Right? So on Eid, inshallah ta'ala, you give your wife a gift, you say, هذه لك. This is yours. Okay? هذه لك. Right?
Got it.
Inshallah. Okay. Everyone happy?
No, you asked that again. Like, so what? Lana Lee, right? What is not to be happy because there is a word lie, we are just saying Lee. Is that simple or
Yeah, it
some-
sounds like it just doesn't sound right when you say lay. That doesn't sound very Arabic. That's like saying
okay?
هذا كتابي. This is my book. You don't say هذا كتابي. You say هذا كتابي. Okay, why did you drop the dhamma and put a kasra there? It just sounds weird. That doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just pronunciation. Okay, so everyone's happy. Everyone's making sense to everybody. Okay, so what does wallahi mean?
Wallahi. I swear by
By-
Allah.
I swear by Allah.
Swear by.
Okay. So should we say that on a regular basis?
Why not?
Why not? It's halal.
No.
It's halal, right? But so why do I say wallahi? I say wallahi is what I'm trying to say is I say, for example, Sultan is telling me that I stole some money. Okay. And I say it's 1 cent. 1 cent. And so he's telling us on a brother's chat, Farid stole some money. I said, Wallahi al-azim, I did not steal that 1 cent. So the question is, I'm trying to defend my name, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't have to pay 1 cent. Is my name, my self-respect, is it more important than Allah's name?
No.
No. Is the 1 cent is the 1 cent that important that I should use Allah's name?
No.
No. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by many things, and he swears by himself. Whereas we, number one, we only swear by Allah. And number two, we only swear by Allah when we have to, right? It is not haram to swear by Allah. Okay, it's not haram. But as out of adab, we shouldn't do that. Okay. So unfortunately, in certain cultures, it's very common to just throw the word wallahi in every single sentence, possible and impossible. Right? Just like unfortunately in our American culture, right? It's normal to throw in a swear word in every single sentence, right? Just how you speak. That's just normal. And it's considered acceptable. Right? And so saying wallahi is not a good thing to do on a regular basis. It's not adab. Right? You should save the word wallahi when you need to. So I'm asking Sultan, did you or did you not see Asif kill Nawfal? And you say, wallahi, I saw Asif kill Nawfal. Oh, wow. That's pretty important. Right? But if Sultan is saying wallahi, wallahi, wallahi every 2 seconds, then it sounds to me that Allah doesn't really count in his eyes. And number two, nothing doesn't weigh much, it's not of worth. So we should not say that on a regular basis. It's not adab. It's not haram. Okay, it's just not adab. We should train ourselves to only say wallahi when it's very, very important. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he swore by Allah. He did it, but he's not doing it every 2 seconds. Right? So, for example, in Arab world, if you ask somebody what time it is, they say, by Allah, I don't know. Like, was it really that important for you to say that? Or let's go back to the situation. Sultan is calling me a thief. So Sultan saying, Farid, you're a thief. You stole 1 cent. There was a 1 cent here, you took it. I said, I did not take it. And he says, say wallah, right? Do we do that in our culture, right? People have arguments, they say wallah, right? Nasir, do people do that in your culture? Right, Asif,
Yes.
Naufal, Saeed, Shanavas, Shiju?
Yes.
Right, people do that, right? They're like, say wallah, right? When people get into argument, that's a very bad thing to do. What if the person is lying? And you know he's lying. And now you're going to make him do what's called al-yamin al-ghamus. Al-yamin al-ghamus is a yamin, an oath that engulfs him in sin. Do you want to do that? You want to engulf somebody in sin? No. So when your kids say wallahi, you should say, that's a very important word, save it for when it's worth something. Save it, right? And so in a situation where I'm being told I'm a liar, where Sultan's saying, you're Farid, you're a liar and a thief. You stole that cent and you just don't want to accept it. So then I did not steal that cent. I promise. And he says, say wallahi. I'm saying, I'm not going to say wallahi. Ha, you're a liar then. I'm saying, fine, call me a liar and call me a thief. I don't mind, because my name and my reputation is not more important than Allah's. So it's okay, I don't want it. So that is the sunnah. If you can only get something by saying wallahi, you shouldn't do it, right? The only way I can get my car back from Sultan is to say wallahi, that's my car. I said, it's not worth it. That's more honorable, right? Like in a court situation, sometimes you could win the case just by swearing by Allah. There's no evidence on either side, and you have that right to say it in certain scenarios. It's more noble to not say it. It's more noble not to do that, because the car's not worth it. Right? Allah's greater than that. Right? And even better, right? On a regular basis, we shouldn't be saying that. So we should teach our kids and teach ourselves. Say wallahi when you need to say it. Save it for those times when you need to say it. Okay? Now, another question. Was sama'i? What does that mean? Was sama'i?
I swear by.
By the sky.
No, it is wa means swear, right?
Means I swear by. Yeah. Okay. Now, can we swear by the sky? Should I go around saying, I swear by my father? I swear by the sky. I swear by the fact that Liverpool United is way better than Manchester United. Should you say that?
No, we usually don't use swearing for objects like that.
So people do that, unfortunately. People do, right? People say, for example, wa abi, I swear by my father, right? In English culture, people say, I swear by my mother's grave, right? That's a phrase. People say that. I swear by my mother's grave, right? And so my mother's grave is important to me, so I swear by that, right? But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to not do that, okay? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, whoever is going to swear by anything, that he should swear by Allah, and otherwise, faqad ashrak, he has done shirk. He has done shirk. Okay? So this is an important aqidah issue and an important fiqh issue. Okay? Has anybody heard of this discussion before? If you say what this, then you're a mushrik.
No,
Never heard of this? Has anybody heard of people saying that if you do this, it's shirk, and if you do that, it's shirk? Has anybody heard of these?
yeah.
Right? And so over the last 200 years, there's a movement, okay, of certain scholars in the Muslim world that have labeled many Muslims of doing shirk. So I'm going on a tangent right now, okay? I'm going on a tangent. Okay? And they'll say shirk of beliefs, okay? And shirk of actions, okay? And so they'll say, if you do this or you say this or words, then you are a mushrik. What does a mushrik mean?
The one
Somebody
who
who
does
commits
shirk.
shirk.
Somebody worships an idol, right?
Yeah,
Right?
some are also partners with Allah.
Or makes equals to Allah. Okay. Now, there's a big difference. Let me move this. Okay. There's a big difference between believing that Allah has an equal and doing something wrong that you shouldn't have done, and doing something, saying and doing something that you don't. So saying something you shouldn't say, and actions you shouldn't do. Now, unfortunately, certain Muslim scholars over the last 200 years have promoted an idea that it's all the same. Whether you believe something or you do something or you say something, it's all the same. If you do these actions, or if you do words, or if you do certain, then you are considered a mushrik and you've left Islam. Okay. And so some of these people, they say, for example, that most Muslims are not Muslims. They'll say this. Most Muslims are not even Muslims. Okay. And so they used to refer to the mushrikeen of Egypt and the mushrikeen of Pakistan and the mushrikeen of Syria and the mushrikeen of Iraq and the mushrikeen of Yemen and the mushrikeen of Turkey. They use these phrases, right? That these people are not actually Muslims. If you go to a Muslim country, people are not actually Muslims because they either have shirk in their beliefs, or they do shirk in actions, or they do shirk in words. Okay. And so they promote this idea that most Muslims are actually mushriks. And if you do this or you say this, then you're a mushrik. You're not really a Muslim. Now, this is not right. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Okay. My mother, she grew up as a Catholic. Okay. Now, what do Catholics believe about Jesus and Mary?
They believe that it is a god.
Yeah, right.
Some-
So for a Christian, they might pray to Jesus or pray to Mary, right?
Yeah.
That's quite a normal thing to do, right? And so a common phrase in English is to say Jesus, right? There's a common phrase like Jesus, right? Meaning God. That's crazy, right? Now, imagine, for example, you grow up among Catholics, you grow up among Hispanics, you grow up among Italians, you grow up among I don't know who, and you end up accidentally saying a phrase. Does that make you a mushrik?
Should not.
Right? What if I
No.
said, someone says Jesus, that's an expensive car. And you're like, oops, you're a kafir now because you said Jesus. Does that make you a kafir?
No.
Right? Or what if, for example, you're from where I am in England, and you get into an argument with somebody, and you say, I swear by my mother's grave. So the Prophet ﷺ, the words that the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, whoever is going to swear by something should swear by Allah. And whoever swears by something other than Allah, faqad ashrak, the person has done shirk. So if I came along and I said, I swear by my mother's grave, is that shirk or not?
Based on what you just described, it's supposed to be because you're swearing something other than Allah. But
Okay, and
the
that's what
back
the Prophet ﷺ said. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever swears by anything should swear by Allah, and whoever doesn't has done shirk. So there we go.
Yep.
But is that actually the case? Is that what the Prophet ﷺ meant? We're not going to question what the Prophet ﷺ said. The Prophet ﷺ said it, and there's no question there. But the issue is that what the Prophet ﷺ meant? So there's a big difference. I'll take another example. If I ask you all to do sujood to me, is that shirk or not?
Yep.
Yes.
Shirk, right? So if you do shirk to anything other than Allah, if you do, I'm asking about your actions. If you did sujood to anything other than Allah, is that shirk?
Yes.
What if you're doing it as a joke?
No joke.
Okay, what if you did it as a joke? What if you're all actors? Okay, we're doing a film and you're acting as mushrikeen. Do you leave Islam by doing sujood to somebody?
No, that's there is an intention behind it, a purpose behind
Thank
that
you
thing,
very
right?
much, Ahmed. Thank you very much. So when this person said Jesus, they weren't trying to say worship, that's just a phrase, right? They shouldn't say that, right? You shouldn't, your kid comes on and says, oh, you know, geez Louise, right? And you're like, what does that mean? They're like, oh, you shouldn't say that. That's a way of like swearing by Jesus. You shouldn't do that. That's from Catholicism, that's from shirk. You shouldn't do that. But your son, when he says geez Louise, he is showing bad adab. He's maybe doing something that is haram. Okay, he might do something that is haram, but there is a big difference. This is this thing here. Big difference between haram versus shirk. And this is what these people don't see. Many Muslims do haram things, right? Many Muslims do haram things, but Muslims don't do shirk. Like a Muslim knows Allah is Allah and nothing else is Allah. So haram is one thing and shirk is something else. These people, they say it's all the same. If you say Jesus, kafir, you're mushrik. If you, for example, if you do one thing and not something else, for example, so a question is sujood. So we can ask the question, is it halal in a film to do sujood to somebody else? Let's say you guys are all acting, okay? And we're doing a film where I'm Fir'aun, and I tell you all, in the film, you all have to do sujood to me. Is that halal for you to do sujood to me as an actor?
I don't know how, but that should be okay.
It's haram. You cannot do that. It is haram. It is haram. You cannot do that in a film. Okay? You can't do it at all. Okay, what as a joke, right? As a joke, for example, you did a joke. You got a giant $100 bill, and you put it in your bedroom, and you did sujood to it, and you put it as a what's it called? YouTube Shorts, right? It says some people are like this. They worship the holy dollar. As a joke, like everybody knows you're a Muslim, and everybody knows you don't worship the dollar, but as doing a joke, is that halal? It's haram, right? And in fact, what's going to happen in a Muslim country is you'll be taken to court and you'll be asked to make tawbah. And if you don't do tawbah, we're going to label you as a mushrik. But you're not actually a mushrik, though, right? That's something else. So it is haram. My point I'm trying to make is there's a big difference between haram and shirk. They're not the same thing. Okay? So belief is one thing. Actions are something else. Words are something else. Okay? And so as Ahmed said, when you did the action, what was your intention? When you said those words, what was your intention? Okay? And what is your belief? So shirk is here. This is where shirk is. Actions are something else. What you did or what you didn't do, whether it was halal or haram, is something else. So you said words that were haram, or you said actions that were haram. You did actions that were haram. That makes you, that's halal or haram. But belief is something else. So it's very important thing you're going to hear. Whoever does this, you are kafir. Whoever drinks wine is a kafir. No, what's your belief? Like, do you believe it's halal? Yes, it's halal. Okay, that you're a kafir. If you drink wine and you know that it's haram, then you've done something haram. That's it. Right? Whoever goes to a church is a kafir. What do you mean? Like, why were you going to a church? You're going to a church because you believe it's a right place to go to, or you're going to church to go and see what it looks like? And then I'm going to ask, is it halal or haram to go to the church in your circumstance, for example? Okay? But these scholars, listen to me very carefully. These scholars, they say it's all the same. It's all the same, or it's not. It's not all the same. And so Muslims are Muslims. You go and talk to a Muslim, he's a Muslim. Do Muslims do haram things? Yes, Muslims do haram things, but they're still a Muslim. Muslims drink, Muslims smoke, Muslims don't wear hijab, Muslims don't pray on time, but they're still Muslims. You ask them, what do you believe in? La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Okay, you're a Muslim. Thank you very much. Just because you said something that was bad or something else is something else, right? And this is very important. Okay.
Shaykh,
Go
just
ahead.
clarifying, if you don't mind. So, the scholars that you're referring to, are you saying that they were terming every haram action to be an act of shirk, or were there
Not
specific action?
not every, but they say but they're saying certain haram actions. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. My name is Farid, right? Who here is Pakistani? Anybody here is Pakistani?
I don't think we have any Pakistani here.
Okay. So anyway, so my name is Farid. I'm named after Baba Farid.
Oh, there is one brother here,
One,
Saeed.
Saeed, right? Saeed. I'm named after Baba Farid in Pakistan in Pakistan. Okay. And so if you go to Baba Farid at certain times of the year, people will be doing haram actions there. Okay.
Yes, at the tomb, yeah.
They go there and they do tawaf. Okay. Now you see this person doing tawaf around a tomb. Is that halal? Let's say that is haram. Okay. Just like somebody doing tawaf around Makidi's. Someone like I love McDonald's so much, I'm going to do tawaf around it. Ha ha ha, as a joke. Haram, you can't do that. That is haram. So somebody doing a tawaf around a tomb is haram. And could it be shirk?
Yes.
Could it not be shirk? Yes. We say, what is your belief? So you grab this person and say, brother, what you're doing is haram. They're like, no, it's halal. Say, brother, it is haram. I'll show you it's haram. Okay. Now it could be shirk when you go and say, what are you doing? So I'm worshiping this person in the grave. Okay, that's haram. That's shirk. That's shirk. But the action is halal or haram. Right? And then maybe the person doesn't know. So he doesn't know he's not sinful. When you tell him, say, brother, this is haram Shafi school, Maliki school. All the madhahib, they all say this is haram. You cannot do that. You have to stop. Whoever's in charge here, they have to stop. You're like, it doesn't matter. We do it. That's haram. But haram is one thing. Shirk is something else. If you go and ask the person, what do you believe in? They say, I believe La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah. Do you believe that this grave can help you or benefit you? And does it have independent powers of Allah? No. Oh, okay. But you shouldn't do that. There's many things that are bid'ah, many things that are haram. But bid'ah and haram are one thing. Kufr is something else. Kufr is, do you believe this or do you not believe this? Right? That's very simple. Okay? So going back to our thing is, I'm saying, was-sama'i wat-tariq. And you're saying, astaghfirullah, brother. The Prophet ﷺ said that whoever says that, he said, I'm just quoting Allah. I'm not saying I swear by the sky. Right? And in reality, when you see the fuqaha, they're going to say that, for example, swearing by other than Allah is makruh or haram, right? But it's not kufr, right? It's not kufr. Because they're two different things. Kufr is in your heart. Iman is in your heart. Do you believe or do you not believe? I believe. I accept. I know that Islam is true and I accept it. That's called iman. Or I don't accept it. Or I don't know that it's true. You don't have iman. Okay? Actions and words, they're either halal or haram. Either for you or against you. Make sense, guys? So when you hear this, right? When you hear this, unfortunately, you're going to hear people saying that whoever does this is a kafir. Whoever says this is a kafir. If you go trick-or-treating, you're a kafir. Trick-or-treating is halal or haram. It's not kufr, right? You don't literally believe in these things, right? So it's going to be halal or haram. It's not an issue of kufr. Does it make sense, guys?
Yep.
So we're going to hear people, again, they're going to say, no, if you say this, or if you do this, kafir. Right? If you pray in that mosque, you're a kafir. Subhanallah. How is praying in a particular mosque? Right? That doesn't make you, right? My friend's brother, very wealthy. Okay. A church asked him, they said, can you please donate to this church? So he gives them $100,000. Is that halal to give $100,000 to a church?
Yes.
It's halal.
No, it's not halal. It's not.
right? So the
But
church is going to
it
let's
was
rebuild
not-
itself or help people go to church. No, but maybe the church, for example, they say we are distributing water in this country. So they okay, yeah, sure, I'll help you. So if the church is doing something halal with that money, fine. The church is, for example, whatever it is, some kind of like just practical thing, fine. But anything religious, you cannot give money to a church for something religious because it's haram. So now, is that person who donates to the church, and you know that they're gonna, for example, build an altar, you know that they're gonna do kufr with it. Is he a kafir? I ask him, what is your belief? If he says, I think all religions are equal, kafir. If he says, hey, I don't care, right? I just like the fact that they like me, or I like to help people out, doesn't matter what. Okay. Then that's it's issue of halal or haram. But there's a big difference. Halal or haram versus shirk. Say what he's doing is a bid'ah. Say what he's doing is makruh. Say what he's doing is haram. But don't tell him he's a shirk, because shirk is belief. What does this person believe? Right? What does this person believe? There's two different things. Okay, make sense, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry to go on that tangent, but it's important because it's a lot. We hear this a lot these days.
I mean, related question.
Go ahead.
Is visiting church just for like say like some historic church, like see the
Historical
place and
church, for
then
example,
take
you want to go
photos
there,
or whatever.
right? So,
Like,
I can just
take photo or
Shafi'i
something.
school, right? So, I studied Shafi'i fiqh. In the Shafi'i school, we say it is permissible to go to a church if there are no idols, meaning no icons. So, if you go into the church, for example, and there is no picture of Jesus, there's no picture of Mary, and there's no pictures of any saints, you can go in there in the Shafi'i school, right? And I believe in the Maliki school and the Hanbali school, it's a bit more easygoing as well, right? And so, double check.
Shaykh, so adding a different dimension to it, like I got an invitation from a friend, and which is getting held in church.
So basically,
Uh,
at the time of Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Umar did not go into the church, Sayyidina Ali did go into the church. Okay, and so I think Sayyidina Umar was trying to make the point like he didn't want to worship there just in case people got confused. But Sayyidina Ali did go there, right? And I believe I have an answer somewhere online on Seeker's Guidance about going to different places, etc. But the point is, at the end of the day, we're going to say halal or haram, right? Someone's going to say, brother, it's haram for you to go to church. It's halal for you to go to church. Brother, it's makruh for you to go to church. That's not a big deal. Labeling, say somebody does something haram is not a big deal. Saying that he's not a Muslim anymore is a huge thing. That's huge. That's crazy. I say, brother Khalid is a kafir. Why? He put an American flag in Zaytec. Say, brother, subhanallah, that you're an extremist now. I say it's haram. Okay. I say it's halal. You say, okay. I say it's makruh. You say it's okay. I say it's sunnah, wajib, whatever you want to do. But if I say, brother Khalid, kafir, why? Put American flag in Zaytec. It's like, subhanallah, you now know that I'm an extremist because I jumped from haram, which is one thing, to shirk, right? So somebody saying it's haram to put an American flag, or it's makruh, or it's permissible, or it's recommended. You say, I think it's recommended because it means this, or it's wajib because it means this, for example. If you didn't put American flag, then people will misunderstood what you're saying. You can say any of those 5 things, I don't mind. But when you say it's shirk, wow. Now you've jumped into a new level, right? New level, right? And now you are an extremist now. Okay, but we're going to hear a lot, right? I remember I was in Jordan, you hear a lot of this stuff, right? There'll be a khutbah and people would say, don't say this because it's shirk. Don't do this because shirk. Well, hang on a minute. Shirk is here. That's extreme, right? Yes, Muslims do things that they shouldn't do. We accept that. Muslims should not do tawaf around shrines. Muslims should not do this. They should not do that. There's many things many bid'ah, bad things, new things that the Prophet didn't teach us to do and that Muslims do. That's true. There is many haram things that Muslims do that they shouldn't do. There's many makruh things that Muslims do they shouldn't do. Not a problem. Label the whole world as doing sin. Label the whole world as going against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, not a problem. But don't label every single Muslim as a kafir. That's extreme. If somebody is a Muslim, they're a Muslim. Until you know 100% that they do not believe in Islam. Okay, very simple. And we don't have time to talk about this at length because it's not part of the topic at all. But it goes back to the word was sama'i. Allah swears by all sorts of things, but we shouldn't swear by anything but Allah, and we should only swear by Allah when it's important. Okay, let's go back to the text, inshaAllah ta'ala. Okay. It says, note, the alif of the definite article al is omitted when it is preceded by li. For example, li ar-rasul becomes lir-rasul. Li plus an-nas becomes lin-nasi. Okay? So li ar-rasuli becomes lir-rasuli. And li an-nasi becomes lin-nasi. So it's written without the alif. You do not pronounce the alif and you do not write the alif. Okay? If a word begins with a lam, the whole of the definite article is omitted. For example, li al-layl, lil-layl. Okay, so li plus al plus lam, you just say lil-layl, for the night. Okay, when used with an attached pronoun, li becomes la. For example, lahu, laha, laka, lakum, with the exception of li, which means for me. Okay, so he mentions separate prepositions. Ila, which means to, ba'da, which means after, bayna, which means between, tahta, which means under, hatta, which means until or even, khalfa, behind, an, about, concerning, or off, off, ala, on or against, inda, at or with, or you say andallahi, right? As you can say huwa indi, which means he's at my house. Ana inda fulan, I am at so-and-so's house. Or it can also mean, like in his opinion, hada indi haram. In my opinion, this is haram. Fawqa, above. Fi, in or above. Qabla, before. With, ma'a, meaning with. And min, from. We've done all these before. Okay.
So if you scroll up a little bit, whenever you're having that lam, right, letter lam, right, that's when those kind of things are changing, right? Lin-nasi, lil-layl. So it's only with the lam that's going to happen.
It's only with the lamb. Good, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I'll tell you why. Let's write these things out, and you're going to see what's going to happen. So all of this is about how we write. It's all about how we write and how we don't want to write in certain ways. So lillahi. Right? This is how I would want to write it. Lam, alif, lam, lam, ha, lillahi. In fact, let's put the alif there as well, lillahi. Right? That's how you should write lillahi. Lam, alif, lam, lam, alif, ha. But this looks odd. It looks like la lillahi. It looks like not for Allah. Looks really weird. So what happens is, first I'm going to cut out the word. I'm going to cut out this alif. Then we never write the alif in the word Allah. Okay. So now I'm going to cut out that alif and I put a dagger alif on top, lillahi. And I'm going to cut out this one as well. But now I have like 3 lambs. Look, now I have like 3 lambs next to each other. It looks like a big scene or something like that. It looks really weird. So you will find that in Arabic, whenever they have lots of lines next to each other, i.e. like lots of lambs, lots of alifs, they try and cut that out because it looks really weird. So what they do then, just cut it out. Lillahi.
Got it.
So it's kind of strange, like you've said more, but it's almost like saying less. Where's the shadda gone? Oops. So lillahi is actually smaller than the word lillahi. It doesn't come up here. The font doesn't recognize it. But usually when you type lillahi, it will put it together as one structure. Okay. I think I'm going to do the same thing with layl. Li, al, layl. So this is kind of a bit weird, but it doesn't happen very much, so they just leave it. Actually, in the Mus'haf, it's written like this. That's how I write layl in the Mus'haf. We don't write it with 2 lambs. Right? In standard Arabic, we write it like this. But in the Mus'haf, we write it like that. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to put the layl. The same thing happens here. La layl, no night. That looks really weird. It looks like no night. So that can either write al-layl, the night, or lil-layl, the night has. The night has different, whatever, what is the word? That. Lil-layl, that's how you write it. Okay, so it's all about how it looks and how it could be confusing otherwise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in this case, there would be a shadda on the second lam, right?
Correct, yeah. Okay, so now it's going to go on to... Go ahead.
Why are these not applicable for ila?
Say it again.
Ila also has like la. The preposition ila.
Oh yeah, ila, when you attach it to a pronoun, will become ilay. So you say ilayka. With the pronoun becomes ilayka or ilayna or ilayya.
So ilal layli also is possible, right?
Ila
Ilal
layl is fine. And the thing is there's no problem because there's a space. Ila, space, al-layl. It's fine. It's not an issue.
So when you write ilal layl, so you basically do
You write
alif
ila,
la ya.
space. Yeah. So alif, lam, alif maqsura,
Yeah.
space, alif, lam, lam, ya, lam. So that's fine. There's no problem. The issue is when it's all put together, it gets really weird and confusing. Okay. Now, importantly,
Shaykh, one
ahead.
question.
Go
I
ahead.
don't quite understand why Layl was discussed separately. Is it because of the Shadda coming?
Yeah, so
to
what
an
happens
extra?
is you had al, so you had three words. A word that begins with a lam, preceded by al, preceded by a lam. So you had lam, alif lam, and then a word beginning with a lam. And so what happens is you would get lam alif, lam alif, lam. So you get lam alif, lam lam. And so you'd have too many lines in a row and it looks really weird. It would look like things like la. So you have lam alif, those two would go together to make the word la, and they look like la layl, like there's no night. It looked really weird. So what happens is you just cut out the both al and lam and just have a lam and layl. So it just says lil layli. Because that's all you're going to pronounce anyway. You're only going to pronounce the lam. You're not going to pronounce the alif because alif, it's an alif, it's not hamza al-qata', it's not a hamza that you stop on. You're going to go through it. So you're not going to pronounce it. And the lam is already merged with the other lam, so you're not going to pronounce that either. And so you just write lam plus that word that begins with the lam, and that's it. And So li with no space and then layl or any other word that it is. Does that make sense?
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, so here there's a little sentence here that's quite important. It says the prepositions la, ma'a, and inda are used to indicate possession as well. For example, lahu, which means for him, ma'ahu, with him, indahu, at him. Literally, it's like at his house or in front of him, you could say, right? Ana indu al-an, I'm in front of him right now. So inda can mean in front of or at. Ma'ak means with, and la means for. But these three are used normally in Arabic to convey the meaning of has. There is no verb in Arabic to have, right? You can't say I have, you have, they have, we have, I had, you had, I will. There's no verb to have in Arabic. It doesn't exist. So if you want to say I have a question, you'd have to say li su'al. For me is a question. Or I wouldn't say ma'i su'al, doesn't make any sense. But indi su'al, I have a question. Okay? If you want to say, for example, I have a car, you say li sayyara, I have a car. Or ma'i sayyara, with me is a car. Or indi sayyara, at me is a car, or in front of me is a car. That's how you would say things. Okay? There is a slight difference because ma'a means it's physically with you, right? So if you said, for example, ma'i sayyara, right? Someone's asking you, hey, bro, I want to buy a car. You have any used cars? You say, oh, no, indi sayyara. You'd usually say indi sayyara, I have a car. But if you said ma'i sayyara, it means I have a car with me. So then you give the sense that it's physically with you. And it's like, bro, where is the car? Like, did you bring it? Say, no, I didn't bring it. So why did you say ma'i then? Why do you say it's with me? Because not literally with me. So I meant in the sense that, I have with me in general. And so it's a bit confusing, right? So when you use the word ma'a, you usually mean like physically with you, right? It doesn't have to always mean that, but it's that's the usual sense. But otherwise, when you say I have, you're going to say lahu, he has, or indahu, he has. Okay? So be careful with those, right? Li can mean belonging to, like it belongs to me. Ma'a can also mean that, and inda can also mean that. Okay? And then he goes to something else. We don't need that. So let's have a look now. Let's look for our prepositions, and let's look out for saying have. Where's the word have? Okay? Try and find a phrase in Arabic which you would translate as to with the word have. Okay? So Bismillah, let's go from the top. So let's start with Ahmed, and then Asif, and then Aslam. So show me a preposition or show me a word have. Ahmed, are you speaking?
I'm trying to, I don't find.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we need to have, I think we need in this class, we need to have I don't know, like those game shows, they have that annoying, stressful music in the background. Ding, 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 ding. Like it makes you, puts pressure. We need to have that. Put the pressure on everybody, inshallah. Okay, let's go. Let's
Let's go
to Asif, inshallah. So Asif.
On sentence number 5, Walillahil izzat wali rasulihi walil mu'minin.
Good. So it translates here as, and all honor belongs to God and to his messenger and to the believers. A really, really important verse, right? وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Another way we could translate it as, and Allah alone has all the glory, as does his messenger and as do the believers, right? And this is a very important verse because in a post-colonial world, we all feel that Muslims and Islam are deficient. That's a feeling people have, right? An inferiority inferiority complex. Who is teaching you right now? Who is your teacher right now?
Sorry.
Myself, right? If England was, if Britain never conquered all the countries that are conquered, do you think I'd be teaching you?
No,
No.
most likely no.
You wouldn't even care about English anyway. But like, who cares? What's England? Right? The fact that you all learn English at school, and the fact that you all made it to America, and the fact that I'm teaching you is a product that we don't believe in this. That's the reality, right? Like, part of my job, let's be honest, right? Part of the fact that I might be able to give a khutbah in a masjid is the fact that I'm white. Because people, Muslims, have an inferiority complex. Meaning we think, we don't believe it, right? We know that we don't care about race, right? As believers, we don't care about race. Believers, we don't care about who's Great Britain, not Great Britain, America, we don't care. But in your heart of hearts, everybody wishes they were white, and everybody wishes they could speak with American accent or a British accent, and everyone wishes that they had graduated from Yale, they graduated from Oxford University, whatever, right? They all wish they were at Hogwarts with Harry Potter, right? That's called a inferiority complex, right? That's a problem. It's a huge problem. Whereas Muslims will be like, I don't care about English, right? I don't care about English. Who cares? Where was English language? Where was Shakespeare? Who's Shakespeare compared to Fuzuli? Who's Shakespeare compared to Mutanabbi? Who was this? Where was English anyway? Right? When, like, what is this? Who are these people? Right? I don't care about these people. Right? You go to ancient India. Ancient India is way better than anything in the West. Right? What's more important, ancient Greece or ancient India? Ancient India, ancient Persia. Right? What's more important, Islam or Manchester United? Right? Islam or King Charles? Right? Islam or Hollywood? But unfortunately, right, the fact that we call it Bollywood, the fact that it's called Bollywood tells us that we love the West, that we do sujood in our heart, we do sujood to the West, like we want to be as white as humanly possible. And we believe that the honor and greatness is in being white and acting white. That's how we feel. And this is a problem. It's a huge problem. And so as believers, we have to say, number one, identify that and say, this is stupid. Oh, I don't care about these people. I care about Allah and His Messenger. Did Allah choose English to be the last messenger, to do the language of Islam? No. English is just a tool. One day it will be pointless, right? We'll all do Mandarin soon, right? Soon we'll laugh about, soon we all want to be Chinese. We'll all be speaking Mandarin, and England was, America and English will sink into the sand and nobody care about it anymore, right? So the izzah, might and power is not to do with money, it's not to do with race, it's not to do with military might, it is Islam. The mighty are those people who say, Allah is my Lord, and I don't care about the rest. So we should have izzah in Islam. That's our izzah in Islam. Know about Muslims, know about Salihin, know about the Sahaba, right? Know about, that's what we're interested in. We're not interested in anything else, right? And if that means I lose my job, so be it. Right? But it's a problem. It's a genuine problem. We have to identify it as a genuine problem and realize it, right? That you can only deal with a problem when you recognize there's a problem, right? You can only deal with a problem once you recognize that's a problem, right? Islam is not about being Arab. Islam is not about this color or that color All this Islam is about Islam. Do we turn to Allah, not turning to Allah? Okay. So, lillahi al-izzatu wa lisulu, we can translate it as word have. Okay. Let's go from the top. Okay, Asif Aslam. Find example of a preposition in sentence number 1.
Billah.
Fasta'idh billahi. Good. And another one?
Mina.
Mina shaitani. Good. Right? Okay, Sultan. So fasta'idh billahi mina shaitani rajim. So seek protection with Allah or in Allah from the rejected Satan. So notice how the word billahi and mina shaitani ar-rajimi. Okay.
Shaykh, is fa preposition there?
Fa is not not preposition. No. So fa does not. So fa means so or then, right? And it does not change the grammatical role of anything. So it can connect sentences together, it can connect words together, but it does not affect those words at all.
So it would be similar to wa when you use it
Like
with
wow,
and
it's what we call a
Okay.
conjunction. So wow, thumma, other words are conjunctions like that, right? Thumma. So if I said thumma sta'idh billah, it'd be the same as fasta'idh billah, right? Or wasta'idh billah, it's all the same. But so fa will not make a word change role. Like if I saw fa before a word, I said, for example, I said, Ra'aytu Zaydan fa'amran. Okay, you'd be like, okay, what did fa do to Amran? It didn't do anything. Fa does not do anything to anything.
So, but Farid,
So-
so between the use of let's say wasta'inu and fasta'inu, between the wa and fa, what are the differences in
So
there?
wa means and fa means then or so. So it does have a different meaning. I'm just saying in terms of grammar, it doesn't change anything.
Okay.
So
Okay.
between thumma and fa, is there any difference?
Yes, so thumma is quite complex, but thumma means and then. So there's a sense of a gap in time. I said, for example,
But
if I
but
said,
both fa,
yeah, so fa
both
gives a sense of immediacy, whereas thumma does not give the sense of immediacy.
yeah,
So
but both fa and summa indicates ordering, right?
by
Meaning one
order,
happened
yes.
before
Yeah.
the other.
So if I said Ja'a Zaydun thumma Amrun, that means Zayd came and then after some time Amr came. So it could be that there was a gap. There was like 10 people came between them. But I know that there's tartib. I know there's an order though. All I know is that one came before the other, but there's no immediacy. If I say Ja'a Zaydun fa'amrun, that means they came one after another and nobody came between them. And there was a sense of immediacy that it came immediately after. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, number 2. Who is doing number 2? Number 2, Aslam Nasir, number 2.
Bismi B.
Good. Bismillahi. In the name of Allah. So this is a kind of a complex thing. In the name of Allah. You could translate it as with the name of Allah. You could translate it as with the name of Allah, with the permission of Allah as well, and so you could say with Allah, so you could translate it as seeking the help of Allah, or for with the permission and help of Allah, or with Allah. So when you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, you are saying in the name of Allah, i.e. meaning, so when you in English, in the name of means for the sake of, right? But that's not what it means in Arabic. So you say, I'm doing this in the name of progress, i.e. for the sake of progress. I'm doing this in the name of justice, right? It's for the sake of justice. I'm doing this in the name of democracy, right? It's for the sake of democracy. That's not what Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim means. It means with Allah, He who is almost overcome with mercy and who is permanently merciful. right? The overcomingly kind, the always kind. So I'm doing this action with Allah. I'm doing this action with His permission and help, or I'm doing this permission, seeking help through Him. Okay? That's what it means. So when you say Bismillah, when you turn the key, that means I'm turning the key with Allah. I'm turning the key with Allah's permission and blessings and help. And I'm doing this seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And this is one of these exercises that one of my teachers gave me and other people, is to, whenever you do anything, feel that. So click, turn the key, eat the food, say what you're going to say. At that point, feel Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's nothing turning the key apart from Allah. You're not turning the key. Allah is turning the key, right? There's nobody, when you click to send, and that a really important message you're sending, or you're sharing that file, or you're uploading that thing, Allah is doing it. You're just kind of like the dust around it. Allah is the one who's making things happen. Okay, number 3. Who is next on the list? Nawfal.
بمؤمن بي.
Good. Billahi, bil yawmil akhiri, and
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was covering a 4. Yeah, for Wamina is man is considered also the preposition, right? Mayakulu.
Yeah. So note how it translates it. Wa minan nas, and among people, right? That's different. It's like from among people, right? From among people are those who say we believe in Allah and in the last day, and they don't believe at all. Okay, so now here's a question. That verse is talking about munafiqeen, right? A munafiq is a fake Muslim, right? They do not believe in Allah and His last day, and they do not believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they just say it. Okay. So are Muslims who don't apply the deen, are they munafiqeen?
No.
Right, let's say, for example, right now, I'm sitting here teaching all this stuff about deen, and then I go and start smoking, right? And I take off my beard is just stuck to my face. It's just fake, right? I finish the khutbah and don't even pray on Saturday and Sunday. Am I a munafiq?
No, Munafiq has an intention of deception.
Exactly. So there's an intention of deception, okay? And then there's also an aqidah issue. So there's munafiq in terms of your aqidah, like you don't believe in Allah and His last day. That's just your job, right? This is just a job. Okay, I turn up, I try to find a job, and I found the best job as imam, and I make money, but I don't even pray. Like I don't even believe in Islam anyway. I don't even believe in it, right? That's munafiq, as in I don't believe in it. And then there's munafiq in that you're trying to fake it, right? I'm like, brother, you should stop smoking. It's like, Farid, subhanallah, how many cigarettes do you smoke a day? Or brother, you shouldn't do that, right? You shouldn't talk to women in that way. And you're like, bro, what were you doing yesterday? So that's munafiq, and there's this, in that you are two-faced. But there's two-faced in aqidah, like you do believe, you don't believe, but you say you believe. And then there's two-faced in that you're deceiving people, right? But just because a believer is a munafiq, meaning he is in his amal, in what he's doing, it doesn't make him a munafiq in his iman. There's two different things. Okay? So yes, we can question whether we're sincere or not. To say, Farid, everything you tell other people to do you tell yourself to do? Oh, good question. Good question, right? So I should question my sincerity. But should I go questioning my iman? To say, I don't know if I'm a believer or not? No. I know I'm a believer. Of course I know I'm a believer. I believe in Allah's messenger. Khalas, I know that. I'm not doubting my iman. I'm doubting my ikhlas, my sincerity. And maybe I'm two-faced. Maybe when I give a khutbah, I talk about certain things, and then maybe, Farid, you don't do that much. The other day, one of my kids at school, he said, Shaykh Farid, I said, yeah, this is the first time I'm ever seeing you eating standing up. And I was like, yeah. He said, Shaykh Farid, you're always telling us not to do that. Right? He was calling me out. He's like, well, you're always telling us, don't eat standing up. Don't eat standing up. And now you're doing it. He called me out. Right? Good point. So that's munafiq, meaning, hey, you teach, you preach, do, that's what you say, but you don't do it yourself. That's in terms of sincere, you're not sincere then. But as opposed to, hey, all believers are not really believers because they're actually munafiqeen. No, that's not true. Right? So everybody
So-
here, we're believers. Go ahead. You have a question? Someone's question? Aslam?
Yeah, so what about the cultural Muslims who basically don't have a strong belief? Maybe they are the humanistic, the that kind of belief system, but they are cultural Muslims where they are part of the culture of Muslims and participate in most of the Islamic activities. So
Go and
what
ask them.
classification would they fall on?
So you go and ask them, you say, and so there's two things. There's in Allah's eyes and in the court's eyes. Okay. So you live in a Muslim country, okay? And the court wants to know if you're Muslim or not because you want to marry this girl, because you want to slaughter this meat. You say, were you born Muslim? So yeah, Khalas, you're Muslim. That means you're Muslim in the eyes of the court. As long as you didn't leave Islam, then if you're born Muslim, you're Muslim. That's it. You don't pray, you don't fast, you don't care. You're Muslim. That's it. That's legally a Muslim. Right? You can, so I want to marry this girl. Were you born Muslim? Yes. Okay, goodbye. Go ahead, marry her. You want to go on Hajj? Go ahead. You're born Muslim? Go ahead. You can go on Hajj. Legally. Okay? So that's in terms of the qada, in terms of the mahkamah, in terms of the court. Okay? Now, in Allah's court and judgment day, that's something else. That's something else. Are there Muslims who are not Muslims? Yeah, there are Muslims who are not Muslims. They don't believe in it.
So
like you can ask them.
So my question is more
I'll
like
give you an example,
what?
right? And I'll give you an example. Now, don't ask this to anybody. Don't go and ask them that. But
Yeah.
are there many Muslims who think that Islam is one of many possible truths? Yes, there are many Muslims like that. You say, honestly, if you were brought up as a Christian, would you go to church? Say, yeah. They say the only reason I get married in a masjid is because I was brought up as a Muslim. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So they say, what, you don't actually believe in Allah and Islam, and you don't know, or I don't think it's the absolute the truth. They're not Muslim in reality. In Allah's eyes, they're not. But don't go and
This
ask
is
them
where
that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
my doubt is in the sense. If you don't really believe, then you are obviously not a mu'min.
Correct.
But you are submitting to the laws and like
that
doing the
doesn't mean
things outwardly. So that way you are Muslim.
No, you're not. So the person, for example, they just, they don't eat during Ramadan in the street because it's disrespectful, but they don't believe in it.
They would even fast because that's what the culturally everybody does.
Yeah, but so you ask
they
the
may
person-
believe in the.
So the person who fasts, let's say he
yeah.
fasts, you ask him, say, honest to God, do you believe this is important? Like, no, I don't. I'm just doing it because everyone else does it. Right? So that's not a Muslim. They're like, do you think, so Muslim is, I know it is the truth. Right? I know it is the truth. Now, are there many Muslims who are not like that? Yes, there are many people, but you should not go and you shouldn't do that. Rather, we should assume that many people like that and try and increase them in iman, right? Like there was one Shaykh here in the Bay Area, Shaykh Tamim Ahmadi. He said, I realized after some time that when I give a bayan, when I give a khutbah, it's almost like I'm talking to non-Muslims, right? You're almost talking to non-Muslims. And many people are like that. You can't almost talk to non-Muslims. So how would you talk to a non-Muslim, right? And so there's lots of people who are like that. Lots of people who, I'll give you an example. This lady is not even Western, right? This lady from Bangladesh, she sends in this question, and she says, I believe that all good people will go to paradise. So I said, what do you mean by all good people? Like anybody who is nice to other people. So what if they don't believe in Allah and His Messenger? It doesn't matter, right? And so that's kufr, right? That's not Islam. Like the Prophet ﷺ told us, he says, anybody who hears about me and does not accept me, even if he's a Jew and even if he's a Christian, then what? He's going to go to hell. Abu Talib, he was a super nice guy, right? He was super nice. He helped the Prophet ﷺ, he encouraged the Prophet ﷺ, he defended the Prophet ﷺ, but he didn't believe. He didn't accept it. He didn't say, La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah. So being nice is one thing, i.e., doing nice things to other people. But if you are, but if you don't accept Allah, you're not really being nice in reality, and you're not a believer. So this is the old lady in Bangladesh, and she had this belief, right? And so if she understands Islam properly and she understands the Quran, Hadith properly, then she's a kafira. She's not a Muslim. But many people think like that. Many people say crazy things. So what I'm trying to say is, don't challenge them on, don't attack them, and just guide them indirectly. Don't say, hey, I'm going to ask you straight off. Your uncle is saying something crazy about Islam. You say, hey, I'm going to ask you frankly, do you or do you not believe that Allah, the Prophet ﷺ, is the last and final and absolute prophet? And he says, honestly, no. Don't do that. Don't do that to him. Don't put him in that situation. Just understand that he's kind of there and help him, right? He's like a kafir, really, who has some crazy ideas, and just help them, get over that indirectly. Don't challenge people straight directly. Don't go and make believers say, tell your sister, for example, she doesn't wear hijab. You're like, I'm asking you frankly, do you believe the Prophet ﷺ is the last prophet or not? She's like, yeah, most likely. Okay, you're a kafira. Don't tell her that. It's not useful. Help her. You say, just help her. Talk to understand where she is, and just help them. Help them get stronger in the iman. Don't make them make that, because sometimes people can commit to the haram, or they commit to kufr. That's not good. So don't do that, right? But in reality, are they actually Muslims in Allah's eyes? Allahu alam. Allahu alam. There are many Muslims who, like, honestly, if I wasn't raised as a Muslim, I'd go to a church. And I honestly believe that, for example, all religions are the same. There'll be many Muslims like that. Ask them, do you think all religions say, yeah, all religions tell people good people, that's it. And I'm just Muslim because I was born in Egypt. I'm just Muslim because I was born here. That's not Iman. So, but we should just help people get stronger in the Iman, and help people, etc. Right? And just help people along, that's all. Does that make sense?
So they'll fall under the classification of kufr, right? Kafir.
Allah knows best. Is your job to are you,
No, I'm not saying I determine a particular person, but the
exactly,
class
right?
of
So
people,
you should
because
be-
just
you
like
should
we
be
say
scared for them.
munafiq, yeah.
You should be very scared for them, and every single day you should say, oh Allah, guide me to die in Iman, and guide my parents to die in Iman, or my uncles, or my cousins, and everybody, right? Because it's scary. And it's very, very easy. That's a type of kufr which is very easy to fall into, right? Which is, yeah, I'll fast Ramadan, I'll pray when I can, but I know that this is probably just the most likely option, right? Islam is most likely truth, not the truth. There's a big difference, right? So if I'm going to gamble, I'll gamble on Islam, but I don't know if it's true or not. That's not Iman. That's not Iman. Iman is, it's true. It's true. And now, how did that person end up in that situation where they think Islam is one of many options? They didn't follow the Sunnah. They didn't avoid the haram, and their Iman got weaker and weaker and weaker. And it's now so difficult to see things. Right? And so it all starts on leaving the Sunnah. You start leaving the Sunnah, and then you start leaving the Fard. You leave the Fard, and you start doing the haram. And you start doing the haram, and it just gets harder and harder and harder to see things clearly. And you just become, like many Muslims, it's just like, where are they? Are you even Muslim or not? Right? And it's just really confusing. Right? When Palestine comes along, they're talking about Palestine in terms of human rights. They're not talking about Palestine in terms of haqq and truth and falsehood. Like we see it as a fight between truth and falsehood. Right? When we see Palestine, it increases in Iman, because this is what the Prophet told us is going to happen. For them, they're like, oh, oppression, right? They'll stand with the LGBTQs plus as well. They'll stand with anybody else. For them, it's about innocent people being killed. We're like, that's happening, but that's not what it's about. It's about Iman versus kufr. David versus Goliath. The haqq versus the batil. That's how we see it. But they see it like the kuffar see it. So they're interested in it because CNN are talking about it. They're interested in it because, some politician left their job, but it's very different. And so anyway, we need to help these people. But my first point was here is, should you question your own faith? No. You should not question your own faith. You question your own ikhlas. But when it says, for example, there's people who don't really believe. You could ask yourself, is my faith rock solid? Is it super strong? No, it is not. I need to strengthen my faith. Okay, but are you a believer? Of course I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I know this is true, right? I know this is true. I'm not questioning my iman, but I'm questioning the strength of my iman and the sincerity of my iman. So you should always question your sincerity. When I came to this class, was I sincere? When I'm signing up for this thing, am I sincere? You should always question your sincerity, but don't question your iman itself, right? That can lead people to OCD, right? Many people are like that. They get OCD, like, am I really a believer? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm a liar. Maybe I'm lying to myself. Maybe I don't know what's going on. That's not healthy. But you should question your sincerity. Am I sincere or not? Right? You gave that Eid gift. When you give an Eid gift, did you give the Eid gift? Were you generous to show off to your wife, or generous to show off to yourself, or was it genuinely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When you donated, was it for the sake of Allah? Or is it for the sake of your own sense of how religious you are? Or is it to show off to other people? Right? You should always question your sincerity, but you shouldn't question your faith. I know, I'm not questioning my faith. I believe in Allah. I know this is all true. Right? You can question your faith as in, how do I even know that's true? That's a good question. How do I know Islam is true? Good. Ask that question. You should ask that question. That's a useful question to ask. Yeah. How do I even know it's true? Why am I making all these sacrifices? Why am I avoiding all the haram if it's not even a big deal? You should ask that question so that you come to strong iman. Like, how do I know Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is a real prophet? How do I know Islam has been preserved? You should ask those questions. They're useful questions. But as opposed to, I know I'm a believer, but maybe I'm not. That's just like mind games that Shaitan's playing with you. That's not good. Right? Question your ikhlas, question your sincerity, don't question your iman. Does that make sense, inshallah?
Yes.
Okay. So bismillah, let's continue then. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا. Okay. Number 4. Who's doing number 4? Who's next on the Nawfal Saeed, number 4.
Number 4, let's see. Hum bimu'minin. Hum bimu'minin.
Good. Bimu'minin. So how do you translate the ba here? How is it?
Hum wama.
Right? Isn't it really weird? So wama means and not they be mu'minin, and they are not believers.
Right. The
ba here is a very tricky ba. This ba will appear after ma, and it will appear after laysa, and it means at all. It doesn't mean with or by or anything like that. Okay?
All right.
وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ, and they are not believers at all. So, i.e., even though they say, I believe in Allah last day, they're not believers at all in reality, right? So it does not mean with, it does not mean by, it does not mean, I don't know, anything else that ba might mean, okay? So this is a ba that comes after ma, and it comes after laysa, and it means at all. They are not believers in any sense of the word. They're not believers at all, okay? So just note that down. Okay, number 5, we already did. Number 6, number 6, Shanavas?
Shaykh, on the previous one,
Yes.
wama hum bi mu'minun. What does B has to do with this sentence?
So ba comes after the ma and after laysa to mean like to emphasize the negation, to say it's really, really not the case.
Oh, that is ma, right? And
Yeah, ma,
hum.
the ba comes and it strengthens it. So I say ma hum mu'minun, that means they're not believers. Or ma hum mu'minin, they're not believers. But ma hum mu'minin, they're not believers in any sense of the word. They're not believers at all.
So in the definition of B, right? So by, with, in.
Yeah, here this is totally different ba. That doesn't have the meaning of with, it doesn't have the meaning of in, it doesn't have the meaning of by or anything like that. It has totally different meaning.
Okay. So you can have B like this. That's what I'm saying. Just emphasizing the point.
So look out for it after ma and look out for it after laysa. Right? Alaysa Allahu bi kafin abda. You know, that means isn't Allah enough for his slave? Right? It comes frequently after, it comes after ma and it comes after laysa.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 6.
من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى. إلى المسجد الأقصى إلى المسجد here, right?
Good. So
إلى
masjidi,
المسجد
masjidi. So from to. Okay.
yeah.
Number 7. Who's number 7? Who's second list? Shiju.
Yeah. بأنية in that بآنية yeah بآنية
If the Hamza if the Hamza was on top of the Alif, it would be bi'aniyatin. But the Hamza is before the Alif, so it's bi'aniyatin. Okay?
okay
You put the Hamza on top, that would mean I am not an Alif, I am just a seat for the Hamza. When you put the Hamza before the Alif, that means the Hamza is a Hamza, it has a Fatha and it's followed by an Alif. So therefore it's bi'aniyatin.
بآنية من فضة in that بآنية B.
Good. So notice the translation here. B means with. Bi'aniyatin, with vessels. And then min means from, but I made from. Right? It's made from that thing. You could translate it as of, with vessels of silver, i.e. made of silver or made from silver. Right? So min, it frequently means that it's made out of that thing. Okay? So خلقته من طين, you made him from clay, or you made him out of clay. Right? It could be two different things. Right? I made him from this, or I made him out of that thing.
Not with.
Made with clay? No, that would mean the tool that you used. I made him with clay. Like, how did you make this bread? Oh, you made it with a rolling pin. How did you cook it? With a frying pan. Right? That's like, what tool did you use to make it? But would you make him out of, or do you make him from? I made him from this. Right?
Good.
Okay. And then 8 and 9 are the same. Min qabli salat al-fajr, min ba'di salat al-isha. From before the Fajr prayer and before the Isha prayer. And notice the word salah is sad, lam, okay, and then alif, the khinjar alif, right? That high alif there. That's salah, and then the waw you'll see in the Saudi Mus'haf will have a 0 over it, not a sukoon. So the 0 means.
Sheikh, are you sharing your screen? I'm unable to see.
Yeah.
I'm sharing.
Okay, maybe it's just me then.
Yeah. So if you look at this in the Saudi Mus'haf, you're going to see there's a 0 over the waw, meaning don't pronounce me. So the waw is not pronounced. It's not salawah, right? There's no fatha on the waw. There's no nothing on the waw. There's no sukoon on the waw either. So it's not salaw, right? It's salati. So the waw just doesn't exist. So zakah and salah, they're written with this waw. And even riba sometimes is written with a waw, right? Because the word originally has a waw in it. So the plural of salah is salawat. And the plural of zakah is zakawat. Okay? But when it's singular, it's just salah. Okay? I don't know how they put it in the Pakistani Mus'haf, but in the Saudi Mus'haf, they put a 0, not a sukoon over the waw. So I don't pronounce me. That's what they'll do. Okay? So min qabli salat al-fajr wa min ba'di salat al-isha. Okay, number 10.
So can we go to number 9 again?
Yes.
So it has like 2 preposition, right? One min and ba'di.
So in reality, qabla and ba'd are not really prepositions. They're not. They're prepositions in English, And we just make the prepositions because it's convenient. In reality, they're actually nouns. So what's happening here in Arabic is you're saying from, before, of the prayer of Fajr. And this is, and from the after of the prayer of Isha. So qabl and ba'd are actually nouns. They're actually nouns, as is enda. But so they list them as prepositions because they work like prepositions, but they're actually nouns. And the proof that they're a noun is that they're actually in the genitive. Look, min qabli, min ba'di. So a preposition does not change state, and would never have, a preposition would never be in a position to change state. It would never have, nothing would ever affect a preposition. Whereas these are nouns in reality, and they're being affected by prepositions. So that's actually what's
Can we say like, you know, ba'di, the kasra for ba'di is coming from min, and then
exactly.
salatil isha'i, that is coming from ba'di?
The of relationship that's going to come next class. The implied of.
I see.
Right? So in Urdu, right, you say ke qabl and ke ba'd, right? Or say ke pele, right? You might say ke pele or ke qabl, right? Or ke ba'd. Ba'd.
Yeah.
So that's actually the same structure as Arabic. That ke is like Allah ke Rasul. It's the same structure. It's like saying of. Right? So in Arabic, in English, you don't say that. You don't say after. In English, you say after Fajr. You don't say after of Fajr. That doesn't make sense. But in Arabic, you're actually saying after of the prayer. That's why there's a kasra on the word salah. Right? And so these words are actually, it's actually, so qabli salati is the same as Rasulullahi, same structure. It's exactly the same structure.
Okay.
But because that's so weird, and because it's not very useful, he just says, no, it's a preposition. Make it easy. But in reality, that's what's happening. Okay?
All right. Okay.
Okay. إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة. Are there any prepositions there?
Wa.
No.
Wa is correct.
Okay. Now, who could explain this? So the reason why he mentions it is because of the next verse. Wallahu indahu ajrun azim. He mentions the word inda, which means with him, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has a great reward. Okay. But what does this verse mean? Innama amwalukum wa awladukum fitna. What does that mean? Like,
Your
what does it mean that
possessions and your
money,
children are
It's and amwalakum awladakum, the children and your wealth.
what does it mean? Like, what does that mean that it's a test? Does it mean your children are haram? Like you shouldn't have children?
No, it means that your wealth and your children is a test in the sense that will they make you deviate from the real purpose?
Right. And so they're a test. So when it's a test, it doesn't make it good or bad. It just means it's a test. Right? It doesn't mean don't make money or don't have children. In fact, the Prophet said, have as many children as you can, right? And should you make as much money as you can? Yes, sir. You should make as much money as you can. There's nothing wrong, right? If you can make $1 million, make $1 million. If you can make $5 million, make $5 million. If you make $1 billion, make $1 billion. There's nothing wrong with money, but just know that it's a test. As long as you know what it is, right? This is just, if you just know what it is, that's all. So like I remember I was a child, I remember seeing the word Allah, right? And it's written sometimes, the word Allah, it looks like the alif looked like a bit like a sword. So I remember looking at it looks like a sword. So I didn't know what that was. I'm looking as a 5-year-old and seeing, oh, there's like 3 swords, like the shape of the alif looks like a sword and the lambs look like swords. I thought it was like 3 swords. So that's somebody who is spiritually blind, like you don't know what you're looking at. Like you don't know what you're looking at. So your child is crying, or your child is smoking, or your child is leaving Islam, or your child is graduating, or your child is getting married. The believer says, stop, remember, test, right? You go to work There's nothing wrong with work. There's nothing wrong with working 60 hours. There's nothing wrong with having lots of money. Nothing wrong with these things as long as you understand what it is. It is not a goal. It is a test. Oh, yeah, makes sense. And it changes the way you look at these things and the way you interact with these things. Okay? It starts off with a little cute baby. Cute baby. No, it's not a cute baby. It's an amana. Turn away from cute baby. Turn to blessing from Allah to thank Allah for. Turn to, this is not waking up in the middle of the night because the dumb baby is crying again. It is, Allah is testing you on your altruism, on your dedication, on your care and concern, on your this. That's all it is. It's just a test to care and concern. That's what it is. All right, traffic light, a test to be patient. Oh, I hate traffic lights. Right? And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, man offends me and he has no right to offend me. And he curses me and he has no right to curse me. What does he say? Yasubbu dahar, and he curses times like, oh man, it's so annoying. I hate the 21st century. I hate this. Who are you talking about? You're talking about Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is he's the one who's making everything happen around you. So don't talk about things in that sense. Be positive. I love Allah. I love the way that Allah is running the world. I just need to respond to these prompts in the right way. It's just a test. It's not a simulation. It's just a simulation. That's all. Your children, it's just a simulation. They're not real. Right? It's just a test. And so it's very important, right? And unfortunately, many people, they fail the test, right? They fail the test. And they don't look at it in the right way. And they don't understand what it means to have children. Like achievement, I have children. What, they've all graduated? Who cares if your children have graduated? Did they pray? No. Did they love Allah? Do they love you? Right? So talking about my own dad, for example, my dad passed away in November. My dad, he did not ask us to get degrees. He did not ask us to get jobs. He did not ask us to get anything. His one concern with us and his one worry, and when he'll get upset with us, is deen. That's it. So my dad hasn't died then, because I still have that relationship, right? My relationship with my dad was 90% deen, 10% dad, right? So I miss his paternal nature. I miss, for example, I don't know, certain things about him, particularly as a child. I think, when I see my children sometimes, and I miss him as a dad, like I miss, for example, his hands, right? Like he had big hands. He was quite strong. But that's like 10% of him. The other 90% is, right, do this. Like, this is a deen, let's do it. Right? Let's pray properly. And I remember him telling me, he said, Farid, you used to have more focus in prayer. He told me. Right? You used to wake up before tahajjud much earlier. You used to be solid. What's going on? Right? I remember him telling me these things, right? Focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't mess up on opportunities. Here's an opportunity. Don't mess up. Allah is giving you opportunity. Don't be a flake, right? And so that's what we need to be for our kids. If we love our kids, turn them to Allah, right? They said, "Man dallaka ala dunyaka faqad khanak." Whoever tells you to get good grades, right? You tell your kids get good grades. You tell your kids, you should do this. It's good for your career. You're talking about the dunya, right? The dunya for the sake of the dunya is wrong. Right? The dunya for the sake of the akhirah is fine. It's not called dunya anymore. But you're like, your whole one concern with your kids is their grades, is their popularity at school, what the teachers think about them. That's called dunya, right? Listen to mum because she's mum. No, listen to mum because of Allah, right? So whoever turns you to the dunya, faqad khanak, he stabbed you in the back. Don't stab your kids in the back. Don't be the person who stabs their own children in the back. وَمَنْ دَلَّكَ عَلَى الْعَمَلِ فَقَدْ أَتْعَبَكَ. Whoever tells you, do these good deeds and don't do those bad deeds. Make sure you pray. Make sure you fast. Don't lie. Listen to mama. This is halal, this is haram. That person is good, but he made your life very, very difficult and made you do a lot of donkey work. So don't tell your kids to fast and pray. Don't talk about that. وَمَنْ دَلَّكَ عَلَى الدُّنْيَا فَقَدْ نَصَحَكَ. Whoever turns you to Allah, you turn your kids to Allah. Right? Make them deal with their religious and worldly life through Allah. Focus on Allah. Homework, focus on Allah. Oh Allah, help me with the homework. Oh Allah, I'm doing this for your sake. Even if I died tonight, I would be happy because I pleased you, Ya Allah, by doing the homework properly. Right? Put your shoes where mama told you to do it. Why? Not because of mama, not because of the shoes, because of Allah. Remind your kids of Allah. You see your kids and you remember Allah, and your kids see you and they remember Allah. That's called caring about your kids. That's called caring. That's called love. Like, I really love you in that I turned you to Allah and you turned me to Allah. That's what you want to have when the kids are older. They remind you of Allah and you remind them of Allah. That's the people you want to have. That your relationship with these kids never dies. Like my relationship with my dad, it hasn't gone. Same thing. He's still with me. Hasn't gone anywhere. So that's a real relationship. Otherwise, oh, you should do this. I did it and I got a good job. That's called stabbing your children in the back. That's not useful. Hey, you should respect me. I sacrificed to buy you a house. Dad, I don't care about a house. Nobody cares about the house. Nobody cares about money. Nobody cares. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's not useful. And do this. It will be good for your resume. That's not useful. Do this. Allah loves it. You translate every single thing to Allah. So you should get a good job because Allah likes strong Muslims who can support other people. So it makes sense. You make sense of the world for them through Allah. They make sense of the world to your Allah. That's called caring about each other. And now the fitness, you pass the test. That's the test of children. Can you see Allah through your children? Can your children see Allah through the dunya? That's what it means to be a parent. As opposed to you made them care about halal and haram. What does halal and haram mean without Allah? Oh yeah, good point. Right? That's not good adab. What does adab mean? What does that even mean? That's rude. What does that even mean? Right? A bunch of rules that don't mean anything. It has to say, we don't do that because Allah doesn't like that. That's not part of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't talk to your parents like that because Allah doesn't like that. Right? And then it's like, oh, it means something. We don't write up on a piece of paper like that because Allah doesn't like that. That's not called doing your homework properly. We don't lie to a teacher about the homework because Allah doesn't like that. Allah wants you, Allah loves you, and Allah wants you to speak the truth. And so we speak the truth all the time, right? And so even if it means that, for example, we get in trouble with a teacher, whatever it is, right? So helping your kids understand that this dunya is a test and that what are you supposed to be doing here? There's nothing wrong with getting grades and nothing wrong with them doing extracurricular, but the point is why they're doing it. So don't turn them to the dunya. That's throwing your children. That is throwing your children into, you're stabbing your children in the back. Don't do that. Right? And okay, wallahu indahu, and Allah has. Okay, so the word here, inda, means with. Inda al-masjid haram, it means at. So with Allah, at him or with him, he has a great reward. And inda al-masjid haram, at the sacred mosque. Totally different meaning. And number 13, inna ad-dina inda Allah al-Islam, and indeed religion with Allah, i.e. in Allah's eyes, inda Allahi, in Allah's eyes is Islam. Inna Allah ma'a sabirin, indeed Allah is with the patient. And then assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. That's simple stuff we know. Okay, any questions or queries? So today's class is super easy. It's just repeating things we've already seen. So we went on a number of tangents. We spoke about shirk, which is important discussion. We spoke about nifaq, hypocrisy. And also we spoke about what does it mean that your children, your money is fitna? Not a problem, how much money you have, but you have to see. Fitna is not seeing what's going on. All right, you can't see the wood through the trees anymore. You can't see that's what it means. Like things are not clear anymore. When something is a fitna, that's what a fitna is. I can't see what it is. Inshallah, we'll stop here. Any questions, please put them on the group, inshallah ta'ala. Subhanallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.